We know that it's late over there, but thank you for your appreciation and your nearest to be able to this platform. Moshit Jaffe is CEO and co-founder of Cerca. Cerca is a company that predicts the behavior of the stock market by intelligence, artificial intelligence. I will give the word to her and also to Andy Wisner. He's our representative in Israel that will progress every week or every 2 weeks to be able to bring some other companies to our platform. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to Jacob Shaban and Uri for your work, and let's go ahead. Thank you.
Buenas tardes a todos, yo soy Andy Wisner y antes que nada no solo agradecer a la gente de Cerca que está acá con nosotros, sino también a este comité emprendedor de la comunidad Maguen David, en el que forman parte el señor Marco Chacalo, Elías Gelfón y por supuesto Moisés Vichy, con esta nueva idea basada obviamente en las directivas de esta mesa directiva que dirige Abdo Chacalo, de traer a Israel más cerca a la comunidad, y a través de este comité lo que se quiere hacer es abrir un poco Israel tanto a la gente joven desde el punto de vista profesional como en temas de negocios, como lo dijo Moy hace un momento, y obviamente hay otros comités que estarán haciendo lo mismo, cada uno en su rubro. Moy presentó a Moshit hace un segundo, les voy a repetir en español esta vez. Moshit Jaffe es la directora general y cofundadora de Cerca, una empresa que predice el comportamiento del mercado de valores, la bolsa, como todos la conocemos, y que está basado en inteligencia artificial. Así que ahora le paso el micrófono a Moshit. Moshit, after presenting you in Spanish and in English, the screen is yours.
Thank you, everyone. Nice to meet you. So my name is Moshit Jaffe, and this is Aner Rabon. We started Cerca together in 2014. If it's okay, we will share with you the presentation. If you can, Andy, if you can enable us to share our screen.
Now you can do it.
Perfect. So basically what we do at Cerca, we're predicting the stock market. And we are doing that by basically collecting non-market data and applying them into winning investment strategy. In my background, I was a CEO of a company which I took public in the London Stock Exchange in 2005. And then I was an investment banker for a few years, and Aner and I started Cerca, as I mentioned, in 2014.
What Moshit is not saying is that she was also an officer in the Israeli Navy.
Yeah.
I was also an officer in the Israeli army, but I was in tanks, so I was eating dust and not seaboats. My name is Aner. I am responsible for the technology. And I guess the technology, the product. I studied economics and probability in Tel Aviv University. I then developed code in C and C++ for about a decade. I ran product and marketing operations in a variety of Israeli startup companies, and co-founded the company together with Moshit in 2014.
At Cerca, we have raised up till now approximately $8 million. Among our investors, you can find David Krell. He's the chairman. He's the founder of ICE, International Securities Exchange, which he sold to the Deutsche Börse in 2007. We have Dr. Gideon Stein, who was until recently the chief research scientist at Mobileye. We have Zohar Gilon, it's well-known angel investor in Israel. We have Professor Dan Galai. He's one of the inventors of the VIX index. That's just to give you a flavor of the people who are involved with our technology and with the company.
So over the past 6 years, let's before we even go to the actual points, our challenge is to try to create an automated machine that collects data from an infinite number of sources and then translates this data to a prediction of stock behavior in the stock market. We collect data from over 100 different sources. For example, we collect open jobs, and we collect human. We collect LinkedIn information from all the companies. We collect news. We collect stock recommendations from all over the market. We analyze the news for positive or negative sentiments. We built over 6 years the technology that translates thousands of different sources, structured, unstructured text, numbers, to a database, which then allows us to score and predict their results. The prediction is done, or the scoring is done, using advanced artificial intelligence technology, which learns from its own behavior, that the engine is retraining itself based on results. And this allows us to continuously improve our stock market predictions. We cover today pretty much all the stocks that are traded in the New York Stock Exchange and in NASDAQ, the two major stock exchanges in the US, perhaps representing over 75% of the global equity volume. We specifically love to predict stocks in the S&P 500 and in the NASDAQ 100, which include companies like Apple and like Google and Microsoft, and the companies that aggregate most of the volume and traffic. We don't score only companies; we also score and predict sectors. So, for example, we hold ETFs or indices where we can predict that this month semiconductors will outperform Medicare, which will outperform biomedics, etc. We cover 26 different sectors using the same technology. The product which is translated from these translations is baskets, is stock baskets. We create baskets which fit strategies. So, for example, if you are an investor that wants to perform better than the S&P 500, we can equip you with a portfolio of 25 stocks which were picked from the S&P 500, but from our signals show better prediction or better expected performance. And we would recommend that you replace these stocks once a month. At the same time, we have other customers that are more traditional, and they may consider something which is much more conservative, and that is a 50 stock portfolio which rebalances itself every 3 months. So our engine is a platform, it's a uniform engine which can be fit for various strategies. Now, all of this is meaningless if you don't show results. So we have demonstrated since January 2017 a consistent overperformance over the leading indices. We've done 50% better than the S&P 500 over the past 2 years. And this caught the eye of leading investment management firms in Israel as well as abroad, which have started partnering with us in various different business models in order to harness our product to their investors' money. A quick layering of how it's done from a processing perspective. We discovered some of it. We discussed some of it. The engine, a big part of the engine, or the technology, the main technology. We are a technology company first and foremost. 65% of our workforce is developers, and they created an engine which automatically mines the data. There is no human intervention. It's the engine collects the data. Then the engine translates this data into trading signals, and then the engine, using an interface, allows you to create the baskets and use them. all in all, from a factor perspective, I talked about the sources. So we have employees, we have open jobs, news. We look at the social media, of course, Facebook, Twitter, and other social networks. We have a variety of ESG signals, which are now becoming more and more trendy. We look at web traffic, engagement in terms of application downloads, how many people use them, do people actually stick to the sites or not. We collect a lot of data from crowd analysis, whether it's stock analysis or company analysis or employee reviews. We look at insider actions, who from the management is selling stocks and buying stocks. All of these are signals that enter our system. Our scoring engine, from a technology perspective, has a lot of AI as well as statistical models, which allow us to score individual stocks as well as sectors. We use technologies such as NLP, natural language processing. We look at AI classifiers and scoring. We need to reduce noise and to look at signals, which makes us always hungry for more and more talent and people who can actually contribute to that effort. What we found was from our own human capital perspective, is that people who enter the space today and already are excited about AI and natural language processing and advanced models can produce much more value than people who've already spent 20 years in traditional fundamental and quantifiable models. Their mind is much more open. So if anybody here finds it interesting and believes that you have a passion as well as contribution to this effort, keep your eyes open and please don't hesitate to contact us afterwards.
Actually, Anel mentioned that the most important part about predicting is the success of this prediction. So what you can actually see here is then when we started, we did some back testing, and then we started to run this product with a leading asset management firm. And here you can see hour long how it's performed. It's the green line here compared to the S&P 500 at the same time. And as you can see, it's like very meaningful differences. The same apply to our short, so we can predict which company will succeed and which company will fail. And obviously we have it on a monthly basis and a quarterly basis and based on the appetite of the investor. So those baskets that we're showing here is basically something that currently run at the last year or so, a little more than a year now, with a leading asset management firm. And we are now in a process of building product. It means that we are launching with them a mutual fund and a hedge fund. And we are also building our own hedge fund based on those criteria. So here you can see also the monthly performance from the beginning of the year. As you can see here, it's like if the S&P at that period have done 6.5, we have done almost 23%, which means that it's 300% more than the S&P. And so basically what we are looking now, we are looking for an equity investment to the company in order to continue developing our technology and to add more and more sources. The interesting about what we do, it's not just an algorithm that can predict the market. We actually build a platform, a technology platform that we are adding every month. We're adding more signals that coming from the non-market data. It can be in any format. And we are checking using our technology, the performance, and then added that to our baskets. Then the other part of our work is to work with more family office and asset management firm in order to offer them our basket construction solution and building with them, like we are doing here with the leading asset management firm, building product together with them. And to develop an internal zero capital fund, which we just have mentioned that we're currently managing a few millions of dollars to our investor. And the idea now is to build a dedicated hedge fund that our investor and people will enjoy directly from our product. So we are looking for partners to subscribe to this vision. both from as an employee and as an investor, either at the Zira fund or at the Zira product. So that's basically us. You have our details. Feel free to ask any questions.
Thank you to both of them. There's some people that wrote some questions here in the chat, so I'll translate them and I'll go one by one. Okay.
Sure.
The first one was if you could if you predicted the last fall that the market that we saw in the market in this last days, and how did you do it? If you could give some examples of how you
in the last few days, I could
yes.
hear. Yes, actually.
Yes.
It's an interesting story because we are managing few portfolios currently. We're working with some asset management where the model is very concrete and you can give them orders every quarter or every month for the rebalance because it's very strict methodology. The hedge fund that we are managed internally, so we managed to do for the first month, it's running now, this is the fourth month. The first month, it's done. It did 9%. Then for the second month, it did 5%. And now it was the third month. And after reaching 6%, basically last week on Monday, Aner closed. He is also the trader, so he closed the position to wait for the market to go up again. So when it's our own hedge fund, we have the flexibility. Obviously, everything is based on our methodology, and we're seeing specific signal to use this methodology. But we were using this methodology in order to predict those. So I'm happy to share with you some of this and actually to show you. Just a minute. Let me just open it. Just a second, we will connect from another computer so you can see, we can show you the product, which is very easy to understand.
Maybe in the meantime, Moshit,
yes, sure.
if you could tell us what is the difference, what we call the X factor that your company is doing that other companies that are your competition don't do.
So, we are, to the best of our knowledge, we are probably the only company that has compiled a scoring platform based on non-market data. You have companies that deal with non-market data, and they sell data. So, for example, we are customers. Some of our data is data that we actually license from others. But very few or not any companies that I've seen have actually created a prediction platform based on hundreds of different data sources. That's unique technology. It impresses us as well as everybody else who's looking at it because it's stuff that hasn't been done. You have scoring engines and prediction engines which were built on existing market data, but not non-market data. The difference between market data, that is it's data coming directly from the market, stock trades, volumes, etc. And non-market data is data that does not come from the market, like job openings, news sentiment, etc. One of the indicators that we used, for example, is what we call a sentiment. We have a sentiment seismograph. It's like an earthquake radar, which looks at our system and tells us when the sentiment becomes very fluid or negative. And as you can see in our seismograph, we had a very positive beginning of February. And it was very good for the stock market as well. But somewhere around mid-February, the signal has become very mixed and very aggressive. We had a very nice run for a few days in February, but then towards the end of February, it became really messy. And over the past week, you can see that the negative signals have really spiked. We use these signals as a good indicator for us to exit or enter the stock market. For us to exit and enter, we use these indicators as good indicators to enter or exit the stock market. We track it every day. We have automatic flags, and then we decide to increase our position or to decrease our position. Our scoring itself is something which is very simple. It's very automated. The system collects these hundreds of different sources. We select a strategy, we click on score, and it gives us the stock portfolio. So to the first question that was asked, did we predict that the market is going to crash or to go through a very tough week? We didn't have to predict it. We saw the signals.
The system predicts.
Yeah, the system showed it. And the moment the system showed it, we became a lot more careful. And if the system will show us that the market is becoming, from our sentiment, is becoming more calm, then we will change our portfolio mix accordingly.
Great. Could you please share with us what kind of positions could you offer to the Mexican public that is here with us, either working from Mexico, or if the situation will allow us to fly, if some of them will come to Israel. How do you see them joining the CERA staff? In which way? What do they need to know to be part of this company? And how would you see the partnership, the way that you'll work when someone is 8 hours behind in Mexico and not knowing Hebrew, because most of them don't, but they do Spanish, and they do know Spanish and English. So if you could speak a little bit about this. I think this is a question that has been asked more than once.
Perfect. So basically, we used to have most of our team abroad, so it's not a problem. With the time differences, both Aner and myself coming from a company that we manage people abroad, with even people who are in California, which is 10 hours. So it's not, it's something that we are familiar, and we do know how to work with people abroad. Currently, most of the CERA team work from home. So working abroad and from home, it's not a problem. I guess during the Corona, everyone need to adjust to that. So we don't see a problem working abroad, etc. We do see few opportunities for people to work with us on the professional level. One Aner mentioned is anyone who's coming from the technology arm, who's having some, I would say, appetite for AI, or coming from the field of technology, of have some master in computer science. So obviously that's opportunity in our research and development team. If someone is coming from the financial market and they have some background with analyzing the fundamental analysis of stocks, etc., someone that's coming from the financial background, it is a huge advantage. We are looking for people who are coming from this background, because when putting things together with the market data and the non-market data, obviously it gives us a huge advantage. We are also looking for people who are interested in doing more research, helping us address more data sources, analyzing those data sources, and I'm sure Aner can add more.
Yeah, so we always look for an advantage using data. So we, at any given moment in time, we analyze data. So for example, we look at Google Trends, and we analyze if information in Google Trends can be used in a way that can help us predict better the stock market. We look at information that is coming from Reddit, I see a question here about GameStop. So we cover Reddit, and we're trying to look for information from Reddit that can help us predict stocks better automatically. The idea is that we discover the data source, we test it, and then we automate it. We automate the collection, we automate the scoring, we train the system to understand when the signal is strong and when it is not strong, etc. Addressing, by the way, quickly the GameStop question, we try to stick to trading high volume, relatively large capital stocks, mainly, like I said, S&P 500, Russell 1000, etc., and not stocks that can be easily manipulated. And there are a few reasons for it. One is that our signals are stronger for companies that are not GameStop, for companies that belong in I say, the Russell 1000, etc., or the S&P 500. The second one is that we do not enjoy stocks that can be easily manipulated. It's not good for our strategy. And also, if you focus on smaller stocks or easily manipulated stocks, you reach your capacity very quickly. You hit the glass wall because you begin to influence the market. Your actions begin to influence the market. If you are busy with stocks that are big stocks, high volume stocks, then we can trade significant amounts of money before we change the market. And that's a huge advantage for us, and we'd like to stick to that.
There's, Andy, if you allow myself, there's another question here. If you have any type of internships.
Yes, we do work with the Masa and with the Taglit, where people are actually doing their internship with us. We had a few, like from different countries. So recently we were addressing that to do that abroad and not people that came to Israel because of the COVID. So of course we do open for internship.
And we have experience with it, yes, and a good experience with it.
Okay, great. I would be happy to ask you if you could write down your email if there's people that will want to get in contact with you. After this presentation or during the week, if some of the participants in this Zoom conference will want to keep in touch with you and ask for the possibility to join the team in any way, if you could share with us, or I see it in the screen already. So,
yeah, we already shared it in the chat, but if the chat will close for you, so you can take a picture of the screen and you will have our emails.
Great.
Okay. We would like to ask also to all the participants that are interested that can send also the email to the WE Center of Maguen David, so we can keep the tracking of your interested and see what else we can do for you. It will be nice for us to have those tracking and follow up. Thank you.
Con mucho gusto, Moshit, אני עושה את זה בספרדי, כדי שיהיה יותר קל לכולם. Con mucho gusto para todas las personas que estén interesadas. En este momento voy a escribir en el chat nuestro correo de WE, que es hola@we.mx. Lo estoy escribiendo en la sala para que ustedes lo tengan. hola@we.mx. Ok, WYI-latina.mx, para los que gusten comunicarse con nosotros sobre esta oportunidad. Y ya Moisés, bueno, al final les contaremos que este es el inicio de conversaciones con distintas empresas en Israel para hacer alianzas en las que nosotros podamos contribuir mandando nuestro talento, encontrando trabajo y haciendo relaciones. Y bueno, creo que Moisés puede mucho mejor que yo, tanto Moisés como Andy, explicar esta parte. Muchas gracias.
Bueno, en continuidad a esta labor, Andy Wisner es nuestro enlace en Israel. Va a trabajar arduamente junto con compañías como Cerca para no nada más proponerlas en un medio como el que acabamos de observar, sino como acabamos de mencionar también, darle seguimiento para que sí se concreten las ideas y no solo sea de alguna forma un marketing, ¿no? Inclusive llevaremos la cuenta de esto y le informaremos al público en general de aquellas personas que han logrado concretar con Cerca. Cerca también está interesado en inversionistas y vemos en el chat que también hay algunos que están interesados. I'm gonna tell you there's a question that says that what's the minimum if they are interested, some of the participants, to invest. What's the minimum to invest?
So if it's in Cerca, we are now in a pre-IPO round, and we are raising $3 million in a discount for the IPO. We are going for an IPO in Tel Aviv. And so the minimum there is $50,000. And in our fund that we are now raising in hedge fund, so the minimum is $25,000.
Okay, well,
you can ask for the money, like you have every 3 months to ask for the money back. It's not
to be able to invest in the connect, to be able to connect with you, to also to invest is by the email, or there's another way to.
No, they can email us, and then we can obviously speak and send them all the relevant documentation, and everything was done like with the lawyer and the administrator, so we can share with the people who are interested all the details.
We do offer a bundle of, for people who invest in Cerca. We also offer a friendly management, I would say, in our fund. Those who participate in the pre-IPO round will be exempt from management fee up to a certain amount and for a long period. So we do want, our ambition is that our investors will benefit from investing in Cerca as well as the fund. So if it's combined, obviously the terms improve.
Well, we want to thank you about your presentation, about your company, to offer us the platform for our youth, new entrepreneurs in our community to be able to get near you and maybe work about it. Thank you very much, Moshit. Thank you very much,
Aner.
And I'm going to speak in Spanish right now to close, if you allow me. Miren, la idea es, se generó un comité que se llama, como le dije al principio, Israel Cerca, y pretendemos traer situaciones de interés que se desarrollan en Israel, no nada más en el área de empresas, sino también en el área de salud, en el área de educación, y pronto algunos de ustedes estarán escuchando algunas otras plataformas. En esta particular estaremos trabajando con el WI, que muchísimas gracias por el ofrecimiento. Es una plataforma excelente para acercarse y empezar a hacer esta aceleradora de negocios, tanto para trabajar como para invertir. Y bueno, se pretende que de alguna forma desarrollemos un nuevo ámbito para nuestra comunidad. Gracias, Andy, también por tu colaboración. Ha sido bastante trabajo lo que has logrado hacer allá y creemos que vamos a brindar buenos frutos para nuestra comunidad. Y pues gracias a la comunidad Maguen David por ofrecernos esta oportunidad y a la mesa directiva. Pues sin nada más ni más, muchísimas gracias. Pasen buen domingo.
Muchas
Yo
gracias.
personalmente también quiero agradecer al comité, tanto a Moy como a Marcos Chacalo, a Elías Gelfón, por su confianza y por estar pendientes y a toda hora al tanto de que las cosas salgan como tienen que salir. La verdad, mis respetos. A todos ustedes, muchas gracias por estar acá. And to Aner and Moshit, thank you very much for being with us today. And hopefully we'll be in touch for other kind of meetings as well. Okay? Que tengan un buen domingo. Para nosotros ya se terminó acá. Buenas tardes, hasta luego.
Shalom.
Gracias a todos.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Gracias.